Every time I get to do a PC build like this, I get really excited because some parts are just really hard to come by. And what I mean by that is I'm talking about the GPU. It's the one thing that holds anyone back from completing their new system. So today, here's what I got from a very recent client build. In this video, I'll be building a custom water cooling system inside the Torrent case by Fractal Design. I'll be talking about what parts are used. I'll show you guys the building process and also my thoughts at the end of what it's like building in this case. So let's get started. Okay, so this is a full-on gaming PC that revolves around the Ryzen 9 5900X and a 3080 Ti from the ASUS TUF series. Motherboard is the ASUS Crosshair 8 Dark Hero for the X570 socket. 64GB of Corsair Vengeance SL Pro at 3600 MHz and CL18, and 2 sticks of 2TB Corsair MP600 Pro XT M.2 NVMe Gen 4 for storage. This entire system is powered by Corsair's 80+ Gold rated RMX 1000W power supply. Our case of choice is the Torrent by Fractal Design, and we will be doing a vertical GPU mount to really show off the fancy side of the water block to make it look really cool. Now, speaking of cooling solutions, we wanted to do a full heat killer build, but they didn't really quite make all the parts we were looking for when it came to compatibility, so we had to mix our water cooling system with EK. Heat killer components would include the Heat Killer 4 Pro for the AM4 variant. It's got a full shiny nickel finish since the color theme we're going for is black, silver, and purple. As for the 360mm radiator, we went with the Heat Killer stainless steel version at 48mm thick, which would be enough to handle the heat output from the CPU and the GPU together. Especially with how the Fractal Design Torrent was built, it's got really large cutouts for ventilation on the front and rear panels and is basically an open air case. The reservoir is the Tube 150MP, also by Heat Killer, and we decided to go with a D5 pump. This reservoir also has a multi-port cap on top for routing the backfeed or inlet flow if needed, which is exactly what I'll be doing instead of using the default inlet port at the bottom of the reservoir. The GPU water block is the Vector series from EK. This was one of the OCD nuances I had because Heat Killer didn't have a compatible water block specifically for the 3080 Ti ASUS TUF. So we did have a little bit of a mismatch in terms of style and branding here among the water cooling loop, so we went with the next best match aesthetically. Fittings are from EK, and we went with the nickel colored finish as well with 16mm acrylic tubes for that thick look to fill up the case, and that's thick with 2 C's. The coolant used is the XL8 Purple from Corsair's Hydro X line. The fans used to cool the entire system are 7 Fantex T30s. They are super quiet even when spinning fast, magnetic levitation motor, daisy chainable, and also no RGB lighting for better cable management and more subtle neutral look. Then lastly, the custom paracord sleeve cables are from Solo Sleeving, and we got the color in all silver gray. Okay, let's get the building process started. Alright, here are some of my build experiences on this project. It's my first time using heat killer parts, so if you do decide to try them out for the first time as well, know that they use M3 screws as their standard, whereas I'm kind of used to working with Corsair and EK parts a lot that use M4 and 6x32 screws. So I had a lot of those laying around, and to get the M3 screws, I had to make a few trips to the hardware store. The cutout ventilations are actually quite large on the front and rear case panels, so this is a very breathable system. I currently have all the fans set to 50% speed, which is currently 1000 to 1100 RPM, so cooling stays extremely quiet while pushing through a thick radiator. The most audible noise I could hear kind of, but not even really, is the D5 pump, which is currently set to 50% as well, which is around 2400 RPM. I honestly only hear the pump when the tempered glass panel is taken off. As for the Torrent case itself, I thought it turned out pretty well, except I wish that the right side tempered glass panel was full metal instead. With the glass panel, it can show the cables on the back that may not be as pleasing to look at. Now, I understand that if you're the very few individuals who went above and beyond to get each single cable cut specifically to do neat bends like this, then yeah, you should show it off with the tempered glass, but this is not the case for a majority of people out there. Now, my work here was not within that sort of cable management budget, as it is very expensive to do. So I decided to use 3M vinyl wrap in matte black on the tempered glass to cover it up. There's a very slight mismatch in the shade of black with the rest of the case, but it's hardly noticeable. I also think Fractal Design should have a metal side panel as the default for the Torrent case, but have the tempered glass as an optional accessory for the very few individuals who have those next level custom cable crafted builds. Okay, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you think of my build in the Fractal Design Torrent case, and what case would you like to see me do custom water cooling in next, and I may consider that for a future video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.